So what is up guys, it's time for another rankings video this time, and since Doctor Strange is coming out tomorrow and I'm a massive Marvel fanboy, I thought it was time to do my rankings of the Marvel films. If you've seen my rankings of Pixar movies, and if you haven't, I'll put down a link down below, the same rules apply here. This is my opinion, film is subjective, it's just for fun, and I don't really think there's a bad one on this list. Now let's get started with number 13, The Incredible Hulk. Now this is a good film in my opinion. It has some really good elements such as Edward Norton playing the Incredible Hulk, William Hurt playing Thunderbolt Ross, and it's great to see him in other films later on. There's this great fight scene at the end with Abomination, which I think is really awesome. But the film has some problems. It's very generic and you don't really know what the tone is to the film. Number 12, Iron Man. Before you give me all the dislikes and the threatening comments, just listen to what I have to say. Now, I think this is a good film. I just don't have a strong connection with this film compared to other Marvel films because I didn't see this in theatres. I don't like origin stories, and I really think the first 50 minutes is really dull for me. But, however, I think this is a great character arc to Tony Stark, and I love how this film took great risk. You had a small director, Jon Favreau, at the time, and you had Robert Downey Jr., and nobody wanted Robert Downey Jr. because he just left rehab, and people didn't want to pay his insurance. But luckily, Jon Favreau persuaded the executives to have Robert Downey Jr. And just some reason they connected so well, and it's like they both elevated each other. Robert Downey Jr. became a megastar again, and Iron Man became the main man of Marvel. This film really sets up the Marvel Cinematic Universe so well. Number 11, Iron Man 2. Now the reason why I put it over the first Iron Man is because you really get into the story and into the characters this time. The film does have problems like having too many plots, and some of them are really unnecessary, like Tony Stark's heart infection and getting ready for the Avengers, and I really wanted to love Mickey Rourke as Whiplash. The film does have some gems to it, like introducing War Machine and Black Widow, and I really liked Sam Rockwell's performance as Justin Hammer. At number 10, it's Iron Man 3. Now it seems like I'm some kind of Iron Man hater, but I'm really not, and this film has improved over time. This used to be my least favourite Marvel film. The film has some dumb moments like only use the Iron Legion for emergency purposes, and when helicopters are shooting at your home and your loved ones, you don't use them. You hardly see any Iron Man, and the plot twist is a hit and a miss. But the film has some cool stuff to it. It has great action. I really like the Iron Legion. I like how they play Blue Double D at the beginning, and I like it how they mention Croydon. It's not a great Marvel film, but it is a really great Shane Black film. Number 9, Thor. Now this is well directed by Kenneth Branagh and has a great cast. I think Chris Hemsworth plays Thor so well. I really like the way they sneak in Hawkeye for a minute, and that fish out of water comedy works so well in this film. The only problems I have with this film, it lacks depth of story and the characters, especially the humans, and I really feel like sometimes the relationship between Thor and Jane Foster is forced in. Number 8, Thor: The Dark World. Now I wouldn't say this is a massive step up from the last Thor film, and there are some weak elements to it, and not to mention the villain doesn't work in this film at all. However, there are some strong elements to this film. You get to explore Asgard and the Asgardians. The relationship between Thor and Loki is dynamic. There's some great action, while I'm glad we're getting a different director next year. At number 7, Captain America: The First Avenger. The film has to go through an annoying setup, but apart from that, everything about this film is pretty darn good. World War II theme suits the film quite well. Chris Evans as Steve Rogers / Captain America is great. Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull is one of the best Marvel villains and underrated. It really sets up Peggy Carter's character really well, and her TV spin-off. The film really sets up like sequels and spin-offs really well, and you don't realise it till later on. Number 6, Ant-Man. The first act of the film is really slow, but this film stands out from other comic book films because it's not your typical origin movie or your fun action adventure. It's a really great story about passing the torch from Hank Pym to Scott Lang, and it's a story about these two fathers also trying to reconnect with their daughters' lives. It's such a smaller and unique film, and it's also a heist film more than an action film. The CGI for the shrinking was just groundbreaking, and there were some fun fight scenes in this film, such as the suitcase and the train set. There was some production problems to this film, with Edgar Wright being attached to direct, then leaving after 8 years due to creative differences. Luckily, Peyton Reed came over to direct it, who did okay comedies, but luckily he pulled it off. Number 5, Avengers Age of Ultron. The film has issues, but it does things better than the first Avengers. It's very well paced, it introduces new characters, it's darker and more diverse, and I think Joss Whedon pulled it off so well. The action in this film is incredible. Everything from the beginning with Sokovia, with Thor and Captain America do combos with their weapons. The Hulkbuster fight was something we always wanted. Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye really had the time to shine in this film. Even though he doesn't have any superpowers, he's really good as a mentor and as a vital part of the team. This film really changed my perspective on Iron Man 3 now. Number 4, Guardians of the Galaxy. This one could have failed so badly. You got a property that no one knows or no one cares. You got a walking tree, a talking raccoon, a wrestler who can't act, and you got the chubby guy from Parks and Recreation. Thanks to James Gunn and his directing and writing and word of mouth, this became the third highest grossing film of 2014. This has one of the best soundtracks in comic book films, and the soundtrack and the film both elevate each other really well. This is not just a great comic book film, but this is great science fiction. It's like Star Wars, Firefly and Avengers combined together and made this. Number 3, Captain America Civil War. This would have been high on my list if you had a better villain or just don't have the villains at all. This film has so many characters and personalities and they blend together so well. It introduces a new hero, Black Panther, and reintroduces Spider-Man in the new cinematic universe. And this is the best Spider-Man I've seen in years. This film had a great balance of drama, comedy and action, and when one gets too heavy, they always pepper in one of the other elements. This film really captured the spirit of a comic book, and it's some of the best action in movie history. The first action scene feels a bit more like the Winter Soldier, but when you get to the airport scene, it's mind-blowing. I mean, what you've seen in the trailers is only like 5%. Number 2, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Not only it's number 2 on my list, but it's my favourite solo Marvel film. I mean, when this film came out, I didn't have high expectations due to the fact that the solo Marvel films like Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World were just good. But when this film came out, my god, this film had its own genre, meaning it's not just another comic book film, it had its like spy political thriller to it. Fight choreography is amazing, and the camera work also. It gives that thrilling moments and it enhances the film on making the film a bit more dramatic, and it really makes you a bit more emotionally depth in the characters. I really like the political messages they show in this film, especially the world we live in with terrorists and world division. And my favourite Marvel film of all time, The Avengers. My favourite film and my favourite comic book film, thanks to Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon has this way of writing and he can get all these characters from different films with different styles and have great dialogue and banter with each other. The action is phenomenal. At the second half, it's just through the roof with this great climax in New York. Every hero had their own time to shine in this film, and especially Hulk. Hulk was phenomenal. He was like the best Hulk we always wanted for years. And now everybody wants a solo Hulk film with Mark Ruffalo now. So that's why Avengers is my favourite Marvel film and always will be my favourite Marvel film of all time. Thank you so much for watching my video, guys. Like, comment and subscribe. Go check out my Twitter and Facebook page. I will be seeing Doctor Strange tomorrow and I will be doing a review some point this week. So go subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. I hope you guys are doing well. I got your back.